Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about Quinn Mallory, because this video is titled, It's All Quinn's Fault. Now, I'm a huge fan of Quinn, I'm a huge Jerry fan. However, when you stop and you truly think about it, so much pain and suffering and death happened as a result of Quinn creating sliding and sliding to another world. He's even said before that he feels guilty for dooming his friends' lives because his friends, for the most part, suffered the most. Now let's break this down to the beginning. Now we know Quinn and his brother Colin are not from Earth Prime. They're from Cro-Mag Prime. The Cro-Mags were this ape-like race that was human, but they looked different, and because of that the humans treated them nasty, and they all went to war. During this war, Quinn's parents slid both the brothers to a different world. And that's when Quinn ended up on Earth Prime. They went back after the war to find him, however, they couldn't because his parents hid him, and for Colin's parents, they died, and the people who was taking care of him traveled to another location. Now, as we all know, a lot of people are born with instinctive personality traits. Both his parents were scientists and created slime technology. So some of that probably resided in his DNA, his genetic makeup. On Earth Prime, when Quinn became an adult in college, he created slime technology by mistake. He tested it out first on himself and saw how cool it was, and he perfected it a little bit, especially thanks to the help of his double. Now, Quinn and two of his friends, the professor and Wade, was down in the basement, and Quinn and Wade wanted to go sliding throughout the multiverse. The professor did not. He said this thing needs to be studied and tested out more, but Quinn was too impulsive, and especially so was Wade. So they decided to go, and the professor decided since he's the older adult, he'll keep an eye on them. Plus, he was curious himself. Now, the first mistake Quinn made was listening to Wade. And he listened to her she thought that the vortex was too tiny for them to all fit in. So he thought, hey, maybe I should increase the power. Foolishly, he did that. And that's resulted in the vortex growing very largely, leaving the house and sucking Rembrandt and his car in. After that, more chaos ensues. They're on a planet full of ice, and there's a huge winter storm going throughout the house. They have no choice but to slide early, which corrupted the data on the timer, and it erased their home coordinates to the point where it was nearly impossible for them to get back home. This is how he first doomed their lives. He doomed Rembrandt, a civilian that he knew nothing about, and he doomed the life of his two friends. Now, this is where this video is going to start getting a little bit more intense. Now, with sliding, there's the good and there's the bad. There are some worlds that are pretty good where you can have a good time, and there's other ones where you wish you never even heard of. Throughout the entire run of the series, our heroes constantly land on terrible planets. Sometimes they're a little terrible, sometimes they're majorly terrible. Sometimes it results in them running for their lives, or getting in prison, or tortured, or sometimes death. Now, a lot of these worlds don't have what Earth Prime has, and the Sliders try to teach these people good morals and stuff so that they can better their lives. That's the good part of sliding. So for that, for the most part, it's not Quinn's fault because they're actually helping people. when they helped a world that didn't have medicine to stop a plague, um, creating an atom bomb that destroyed a meteorite from destroying our home planet. Maggie's planet was about to be destroyed by pulsars, and they slid everybody off that world to another world. However, there's always a downside to this. In the world where the meteorite was hitting, the professor gave Banish the ability to create atom bombs, and he kept that. And he had a sinister look on his face saying, the world is his, or some crap like that. And as for Maggie's world, the bad part about Quinn going to that Earth is that, okay, their world was about to be destroyed by pulsars. It was about to explode. Now that's terrible all in itself because it's going to kill millions of billions of lives. And when Quinn came there, the scientists of that world were creating their own slime technology, but they didn't quite crack the code. Quinn helped them crack the code, giving them the ability to slide. Unbeknownst to him and everybody else, the Colonel Rickman was a very evil person. He was killing people. He was taking their brain fluid stuff and injecting it into himself so he can stay alive because he had a parasite living with him. Now that Rickman has the ability to slide, he only took people on that Earth that was compatible to his DNA. Also, as a result, when Rickman got found out, he shot Maggie's husband. Then when the Sliders tried to stop him, he killed the professor. However, this was not our true professor, and I'll get to that a little bit later. So Rickman betrayed everybody, and he stole his people's timer, and he started slaying the other Earths, killing other people. Now, that's terrible all in itself. However, when it comes to Maggie's people, one might say, oh, well, it's a good thing because hundreds of thousands of people got to live. However, the Earth they slid on has dinosaurs, something that's been extinct for billions of years. And these people were not used to that. And as a result, many of them have died. So every day they have to survive running for their lives from dinosaurs. Now, like I said before, slime does have some good. Like that world that was racist, that only liked white people. They help educate the people that these eddies are not synthetic androids, that they're real people. People of color. That they're turning into these little mindless zombies to do their cleaning. Hopefully, a world like that will see their flaws and change them. Also, on that one world that was religious, that would send people to the other plane of existence, but in actuality, they killed those people. That one world where Quinn kept trying to find his ex, the one that was kind of shifting backwards in time. In that world, because Quinn changed the fabric of time and space, he altered history. And a black hole came up in the sky, and there was like 2 moons or something like that, and then it closed. Next thing you know, the Earth started to rumble and it was about to be destroyed. All because Quinn had to change the past. One might say that if you slide to another world, you get to learn from these other people and bring some of their wisdom onto your Earth. However, we never really see that. We see it actually being the reverse. It's the Sliders bringing their wisdom to these other worlds, because these other worlds just are a little bit inept. The only good worlds really where they can learn and protect theirs is when it's dealing with the Cro-Mags. Like that one world that created a virus that kills only Cro-Mags and Cro-Mags only. That can benefit another world. or the world of Chromat Prime that created a slide cage. Speaking of the slide cage, Quinn's parents created it. It's where anybody, doesn't matter what race you are, when you try to slide to Chromat Prime, you get bounced off their world automatically and sent to another world that's basically like a desert. And there is the building known as the slide cage. And it's where everybody gets to live. They have food and replicator, TV, stuff like that. But the humans and the Chromats can't get along, and they kill each other daily. Quinn and his people got stuck there. So, of course, they don't want to be stuck there. So what does Quinn do? He disables the slide cage. Now, Chromats are able to slide to Chromat Prime. Now, let's get to Earth Prime. Earth Prime is now invaded by the Chromats. It resulted after Season 2, when the Sliders first encountered the Chromats. They implanted one of the Sliders out of Rembrandt or Wade with a homing device, to where whenever they get to their home world, it will detect them so that the Chromats will be able to invade that planet. After Season 3, Quinn pushes Rembrandt and Wade into the vortex because he's trying to save Maggie from these hybrid human animal people, and Rickman. When Quinn and Maggie finally slide there months later, they find out that Earth Prime has been overridden by the Chromats. Quinn's mom is locked up, Rembrandt's been tortured, Wade got sent off to a breeding facility. Now, you have to look at it like this. In the multiverse, there are billions with the B, trillions with the T of worlds. That's like taking a needle, going out to a football field, filling the football field with straw, tossing the needle randomly somewhere and be like, hey, go look for it. There's a good possibility that since there are billions of Earths, that the Chromats would have never even made it to Earth Prime. And why did they put a homing tracking device in one of the sliders and invade Earth Prime? It's because in the first encounter, when Quinn meets the Chromats, their ship is flying towards him. They freak out because they think it's an alien ship. Quinn uses the timer to somehow deactivate the Chromat ship. It crashes. It kills the pilot. They should have just left it in there like Wade and Rembrandt said, but the professor and Quinn had to be scientists. They had to explore. They went inside to see what the technology looked like and if the pilot was okay. An alarm sets off. They hightail it out of there, but they're all recorded on video, and that's how the Chromats were able to find them on another Earth. Okay, now let's get to the people that Quinn cares about the most, the people's lives that he has ruined as a result of him sliding. First and foremost, he ruined his own life. He ruined his life because once he slid off that Earth, his mom was devastated that he left. Now, in Season 5, the crappy season that I hate, with much bias and hate, a scientist was seeing these people going through the vortex because their sliding technology is more advanced. His assistant, who is Quinn's Mallory double, was unable to walk. So the scientist was trying to perfect his technology to live in other people's bodies to be basically immortal. So he took Quinn Mallory, our Quinn, and he merged him in the body of his double. This now resulted in his double able to walk, and Quinn was stuck inside his body. When they tried to free Quinn, our Quinn, from the double Quinn, it resulted in Quinn dying. So now Quinn is dead. Now let's go to his brother Colin. Colin was on a world that was kind of like an Amish type world where there really was no technology whatsoever, but Colin, being the scientist that he was creating stuff. Quinn took him from that world and made him slide with him to find their home planet. This was a little bit too much for Colin to really handle because it became very stressful for him. All this new technology, people constantly hunting them down, Chromax, you name it. But Quinn did that only because he wanted to be with his brother, but he didn't think about his own brother's needs. Then in the 5th season, because Jerry left to be a movie star, the executives decided, okay, we're just going to get rid of Colin and fire his real life brother. So they decided that Colin was trapped in the multiverse. He slid down the wrong tunnel and now he's on another Earth by himself. When it comes to the professor, there are two. There's the real one from Earth Prime, and then there's the fake one, who was eventually evil but then later redeemed himself in the later seasons. Let's start with the good one first. The first professor was Quinn's actual teacher at the university. They slid together. This man entered a world where his dead wife was alive. That is very dramatic and brings a lot of emotions to people. What made it worse was that the professor of that Earth was terrible to his wife. He cheated on her and she wanted nothing to do with him. So when he tried to talk to her, she really didn't want to have anything to do with him. That's a huge emotional turmoil right there. And what made it even worse is that he landed on a Earth that was nearly identical to his, got kidnapped by his double. Then his double slid to another world with the sliders, leaving him stranded there. So now this man is stranded on an Earth that's slightly different than his, but mostly identical. And I know what you can say, like, yeah, but he's living up being like a superstar, rich and famous, because the fake professor pretended that he created sliding, and now everybody wants a piece of them, money wise and fame wise. But you have to remember what the professor said a long time ago. He just wants to get home. He wants his old life back. He just wants to teach. He enjoys teaching. Sure, he can be a teacher there, but on that Earth, he now has to pretend to be a completely different man. And the downside of that is that there are a couple of people who know his true identity. His assistant, Quinn's mom, Wade's parents, the psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist's assistant. If any of them were to spill the beans, he could be in serious trouble. People might think he's a fraud. Plus, his double lied and said that he created sliding technology. What if the people of that world want him to create sliding? He can't do that because the professor does not know how to do it. He knows how to tinker around with it, but that's about it. Now to the fake professor. This professor started off, like I said, a villain, but he redeemed himself. He took on the role of the old professor, saving the world from whatever cataclysmic disaster that was about to befall that Earth. He became a hero and an alright decent guy. And this professor became temporarily blind. He got some kind of disease from a plant that really affected his arm and made him itch and burn really badly. His character started to get so old and sick that he was dying when he went to a hospital and they checked him out. Then they gave him some magic water and he was supposedly fine. This man has been sucked underground by a giant slug, put in a cocoon, and about to be eaten. Then, on top of that, on the aspects of almost returning home, he gets shot, left on that earth, and the earth completely explodes. Now on to Wade. Wade was Quinn's friend and pretty much his best friend on Earth Prime. They worked together, she liked him, he liked her. While sliding, just like the other sliders, constantly getting chased and shot at, Quinn will sometimes be like he's into her, sometimes he act like he's not. Not a whole lot really went on with her character, but towards season 3, the worst things that would happen to her is she lost the professor, which devastated her to the point where she was angry and couldn't stop crying. On top of that, she had to deal with Maggie, and she did not like Maggie at all. Wade literally felt like her entire world was coming to an end, and there was no escaping it. And then on top of that, she wanted to have a baby, which she couldn't do because she's not home to where she wants to give birth to her actual child. When she makes it finally home in season 4, it's revealed that she was taken by the Cro-Mags. She went into a breeding site where she was constantly forced to have Cro-Mag baby hybrids. About a year later, after somehow she escaped, or I don't know if she really escaped or not, or she was just being held in a facility, but she was able to gain some Cro-Mag powers through their sperms and baby and stuff. And I've already touched on this on my other video. She sent a telepathic message to Rembrandt. Something happened in that crappy season, and then she used her Cro-Mag powers to destroy some type of device that was really bad to humanity, and the backlash caused her to die. So now Wade is dead, and all of this would never have happened if she never slid. Now we go to Rembrandt Brown, the crime man. Rembrandt, for the most part, had a good time while sliding, but just like with everybody else, he had some bad times. He's met some former loves of his life from Earth Prime on these new Earths, and some of them don't really want nothing to do with him. Others, they do for a while, but either they find out he's not the real one, or they just turn out bat crazy. Then he's met some new love of his life, but the woman that he fell in love with on this one Earth, she aided the Cro-Mags, and Rembrandt hates the Cro-Mags because in the 3rd season, he went home towards the end, and in the 4th season, it was revealed that they brainwashed him, tortured him, and imprisoned him. He went completely nuts, like a person at Arkham Asylum. And they implanted in his head to kill Quinn. When he first saw Quinn, he thought that he was an illusion, and he flipped out. His psychosis was damaged. After that, they escaped, and he has an all-out hatred grudge towards Cro-Mags, to where he becomes like the humans of Cro-Mag Prime. He becomes racist towards all Cro-Mags, because everyone he's ever met is evil. Then eventually he does meet some nice ones, but it's kind of hard for him to get over because he just hates them so bad. He has literally turned into the same type of prejudiced people that oppressed him when he was growing up, that he mentioned to Quinn a long time ago, because he's a black man, and he grew up in the time of like the 50s and 60s when it wasn't such a great time for black people. So on the aspect of that, if he never slid, he would have never went through all that. His Earth would probably never got invaded. Now we come to Maggie. Maggie's kind of a hard sell, because if it wasn't for Quinn, she would be dead because her whole planet blew up. But because of Quinn, a lot of bad stuff happened to her while she slept. Her husband was shot after finding out that Rickman was really a criminal killer type person. Now, chances are her husband probably got shot anyway. But she would have died on that earth and it just would have, just passed, whatever, because she'd be dead. But now that she has to live through this, she becomes very vengeful. Every slide she's on, she leaps before she looks, constantly putting herself and the other slides in peril. She is constantly looking and trying to hunt down Rickman. She goes on one Earth where a parasite invades her body and turns her into some crazed, like, creature alien type woman type thing. Then, on 2 separate Earths, she has an addiction. One addiction is to drugs, because everybody on that Earth gets people high. The second one is when she's on a world that's all about virtual reality, and she is hooked on that bad. Then there's another Earth that she went to that was similar to hers, where she meets her dead husband, and he doesn't want anything to do with her because the Maggie of that Earth is still alive, and those two had a falling out big time. So that has to be very painful, just like the professor seeing your ex-lover and they don't want nothing to do with you. She lost Quinn in the 5th season. She loses Rembrandt at the end of the 5th season because he goes back to his Earth to try to save it, and only one person can slide. She has now lost everybody she's ever known or cared about or loved. And then she's with these 2 new sliders, but she barely knows them. Not to mention, one of the last memories her husband had before he died was how he saw the way Quinn kept looking at his wife. So he figured something was going on because he knows Maggie's a cheat because she used to cheat on him with Rickman a long time ago. When it comes to the last 2 people, when it comes to the Mallory clone, some good came from the real Quinn sliding. Like, he now has the ability to walk. The sad part is he now has another man living inside his body. He's reliving his memories, and it's hard for him because now he has 2 sets of memories, and he likes Maggie but doesn't know why. He suffers a lot by sliding, by getting addicted and all kind of other stuff and nearly dying. So that's the downside of him. Now, as for Dr. Diane, she learns that her boss, her mentor, is a really bad man. He has taught her way too much about sliding, to the point is now where when she goes to another planet, she saw that her double was not living a really good lifestyle. I can't remember what she was. She might have been like a janitor or something like that. And that did not make Diane happy. She wanted all her doubles to live a luxurious, smart type lifestyle like the way she did. So somehow with some weird sci-fi sliding technology, she was able to alter this woman's past. As a result, this woman becomes now rude, arrogant, snobbish, and she no longer has a daughter, which devastated Diane. All this would never happen if she never met Quinn's friends. So yes, this is all Quinn's fault. In some way, he's the bringer of death, but not intentionally. He lives with the guilt. In essence, he is Albert Einstein, and his sliding technology is the atom bomb. Some good came from it, and a whole lot bad came from it. And it's ironic that in the pilot, there's a scene where we see Quinn, and behind him is a picture of Albert Einstein. So that was my video, and I shall talk to you later. Bye.